Geico presents sharing versus oversharing. Today, Bridget Griffin shared a video of her daily yoga routine, 2 self-help articles, and her new blog called Build Your Inner Bridge with Bridge. Girl, your sharing has turned into oversharing. No worries, Bridge. Geico has some info worth sharing with your 7 blog followers, like how you could save money on your car insurance, update your policy, and report a claim just by visiting geico.com. How's that for building your inner bridge? Bridge? Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Blog Talk Radio.
Yes, yes, yes. This is another episode of Wake Up African People. And we are here tonight to talk about Umar Johnson once again. About 6 months ago, a little bit over 6 months ago, somebody, can everybody please mute their phones? Yes. Okay. That was a little disturbance there. Yeah, I had to get over that. Now, let me start this out again. Over 6 months ago, we did a show on Umar Johnson and the conscious stripper scandal. And what happened was the representatives, because Umar Johnson wasn't speaking to nobody at that time, except for putting out memes and putting out threats and stuff to different people and stuff, and a whole fiasco of insane high school or maybe grammar school type kid stuff that was going on. Not like a professional person with credentials that he claimed to have, and not acting like a real conscious brother. All we heard him do time after time after time is to demeanor sisters, to demeanor brothers, to demeanor anybody that questions him about the finances that the people gave him and trusted in him to do the will. Now, can someone please mute their phone? Now, the people gave him the money for them to do the will of the people. Now, say this scenario here. You give your money to somebody that you trust in, right? And they're going to tell you they're going to do this and that for you or whatever, they're going to make this happen. But then you go back to them later on because you don't see anything happening, and you question them about the money you gave them, and then they tell you, look you in your face and tell you it's none of your business what they doing with your money, you'll be ready to fight. But somehow, some way, this Umar Johnson done captured the imagination of a lot of crazy type people. I've never even seen this type of madness before. I've seen preachers, some of the best, and they capture the imagination of these religious people. And they be falling out and foaming from the mouth and all this shit. I mean, he's getting ready to go to this scale where people are falling out, foaming from the mouth for him talking about some information that you can Google. I mean, it's insane how our people won't pick up a book. They won't research. They just give their money away and throw their money away time and time and time again. Black people have threw enough away money to buy this country and 3 more countries over again on black false leaders, tricking them with the white man's religion or with some type of scam or scheme that he's going to come and deliver them into something better in the situation that they're in. Now, today, we have my co-host, is all time, Brother B, and Professor Tell Beatty. He has a BS, an MBA, a DBA, an ABD, IASC, Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and the IASC, I told myself I can't even sing. She's a DBAEDU Director, Professor, Founder, Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and owner of IASC International Alliance for the Strategic Change Incorporated. She's a Director, Professor at IASC DBAEDU, a training center for business leaders, doctoral business candidates, founders, owners of nonprofit organizations, Business Development Foundation, founder and president of the nonprofit organization Pan-African Nationalism Leadership Council, PANLC. Presently finalizing a study for a doctorate in business administration, DBA, with special reference to international business, and at Walden University, Minneapolis, United States, a certified researcher and bottom of the pyramid BOP economic specialist with extensive research and study of BOP market, doctoral research, study business, leaders, marketing to the bottom of the pyramid consumer of Nigeria. Chantel has over 25 years in business administration. Her career includes a profile of experience with United States federal government, GSA, Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, Unsung Heroes Award, Department of Defense, United States Air Force civilian duty. Her background in education extends from teaching at a local college to teaching as a certified math teacher in a range of grades from elementary to high school. Special education for gifted and talented. Her business ownership background covers a broad range of business knowledge ownership for sales director to international consultant. Chantel is an international Gold Key Scholar and holds a Bachelor of Science, a BS, and Masters of Business Administration, MBA from Texas Wesleyan University. Now, the only difference between her and Umar is her shit is real, and his is fake until he shows it. See, because Umar Johnson can make all this stuff go away if he just does like Chantel does and put the papers out there. I mean, you should be happy to go through all that work, all that paperwork, all that research, and all the stuff you did to have that paper, because this is the same paper that Umar Johnson pushed out there in the beginning to throw his fishing line out to get the people hooked. But all of a sudden now that it's in question, the degrees and everything means nothing. It doesn't matter if you have a white man's degree. It's the white man's degree before, but when he was pushing it, it was his degree. But soon as somebody asked him about the degrees to prove that he is Umar Johnson, because I done changed his name, not to Umar, it's Umar Johnson. Who is the hell is this guy? Because from our extensive research, he's not who he say he is. And the burden of proof is on him to prove who the hell he is. He's taking money from the community. Some of the people in the community, I don't even know if this is the people who saying these things on the internet that they don't care about their money. It's probably people that gave him nothing. Because we don't know what the real people who invested 100, 200, 300, 500, or whatever they may give him is saying right now. We don't know. Maybe they're waiting to see what happens, because nobody really wants to take the black man in front of the white man courts and all this stuff. I say let him fall by the power of our ancestors, because if he's doing wrong, his climb to eminence might seem so good, but his fall is going to be way harder, just like Ray Hagan's fall. They come and they go. Now, Chantel, did you Skype in the sister from Holland? Is Chantel with us? Who's with us on the line? Hold on a minute. I'm going to have to do some finagle in here. Y'all, bear with me. This has been my first show for a while since Dr. Walter Williams. And when you get Dr. Walter Williams on your show and all that knowledge that he be kicking, you kind of like, what's the name, stuck at that for a minute. Is this Chantel?
I'm here. I'm still trying to connect.
Okay, you trying to connect the sister up?
Yes, just one moment.
Okay.
Give us some time.
Introduce yourself, Brother B.
Yes, I'm Brother Bartley. I'm a community activist, and I have been involved in the community for over 40 years. The thing that's going on now, it's not the first time that our people have been hoodwinked. In fact, our whole history is filled with people who have been robbing us, making false promises, trying to sell us these grandiose ideas. There was nothing new. But I'm just, I'm not pleased with the fact that the brother throws out Marcus Garvey's name like he is a Garvey all-star or shooting star from the Garveyite movement. And anybody can claim, that they're this or that, but when it comes down, when the rubber hit the road, when you start investigating these people, you find out that they're scam artists. And I hope that, that the brother is not as gangster, as the proof and the facts have been presenting itself. So I just want to get a little more information. Like, I'm quite sure that the listening audience want to get to the bottom of this thing so we can put it to rest. We want to put this thing to rest tonight. So the question of the Umar Johnson controversy would be over, and we can move on to the next level. And that next level is this. we have a whole lot of people out here talking about their religion, what, how they see our community progressing, and that their way is the best way and the right way. But when you look out at the landscape, you don't see one institution that these folks have built. With all this so-called knowledge they supposed to have, we have yet to construct something collectively that we as a people can say that this is ours. In order to do that, you have to become centralized through some organization. We need an organization centralization. We need collectivity, collective economics, and collective political agenda for our neighborhoods and our communities. If we're not doing that, then we're just pimping the people. And so far, what I can see is that we got a whole bunch of people masquerading as conscious people, but they're no more than what they're doing, no more than what the preacher does, and that is to mesmerize the people so that the people can join their particular organization. But when you check out these organizations, you don't see one thing that they're doing to move our people forward. What I mean by forward is to take them out of this quagmire that we're in to the next level. And that next level is that we must control the economics, the politics, the socialization, the education, and everything that pertain to our community, especially if we are a majority in that community. So we're not moving forward, we're moving backwards. And I hope tonight to get this information so that I can be at ease with myself and how I perceive Umar Johnson. My idea was that Umar was somehow different because of his strong so-called Marcus Garvey affiliation. Now, Brother Umar, I've known Umar for quite some time. I remember him coming through the Marcus Garvey organization building at 121 Cecil B. Moore Avenue. And Brother Battles, who was the president at that particular time, he did not like Umar. It was something about Umar that he did not like. And he let me know that he do not trust this young brother. He said because he really don't have no background in the community. So tonight, we're going to really get into the Umar Johnson controversy and put this thing to rest.
Yes, we are. We have dug deep. We have did our research. We've been behind the scenes, watching everything because we are vanguards of the community. When you're a vanguard of the community, you look out for the community. You see people shamming the community, Reverend Poorchild, anybody, Louis Farrakhan, what's the other guy's name with the perm? Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and all the rest of them. When you see these people, you got to call them out. Marcus Garvey called out people. He called out W.E.B. Du Bois and all the rest of them coons that worked for the NAACP that was trying to destroy the movement. This has been going on. This is nothing new. Every 10 to 15 years, and this is for y'all new people, we have to cleanse the movement. There's always parasites in the movement. Everybody see a good thing. When they see money start to circulate, it's a good thing. The red flag for you is when somebody's asking for donations with no plan to show you. First of all, you should see a plan before you give your donation. Black people are so used to being bamboozled by the church that now it's automatic. They just give up their money in hopes that the person is going to do the right thing with it because they starry-eyed and they had a good speech and they danced around and fell around and foamed from the mouth and all the stuff they be doing when they in the church. So what I'm telling you now, they used to call them snake oil salesmen back in the day. They used to come around and say that they had the cure for this and the cure for that and everything, and then when they gave it to you, it really wasn't nothing but snake oil. And see, Umar Johnson is selling you snake oil. There's no school. If you ask about the school, you get chewed out. If you go to his page and ask any questions, he blocks you. You know, the sister laid out a masterpiece of investigative work on Umar Johnson. The best he can do is go make a meme with her and a pig in it. He's calling a sister, a woman, a pig. He called Kim Ringo a maggot and every other type of name you could think of. You know what I'm saying? A whore. Said she was a whore. Kim Ringo had to go through the FBI to get her and put her FBI papers online to show people that she was not a whore in the street selling her body. But he put that out there on the sister, slandered the sister, called her a whore in the street, and she got children. He took Chantel, Jeff, you go on the internet, it's on his page. He made a meme of a sister and called her. And you got a mother, you got a sister, you may have daughters out there, and you sisters, y'all sisters really getting me for going for this. I mean, some of his most fiercest backers are females itself, watching him do these things to females. This is what I can't get. What type of female sits up and watch a guy disrespect the other females and then protects him? That's some type of, sadistic type, like a woman that's getting beat by her husband but denying that he's a bad guy and he's beating her. One of them type of situations. Now, somebody in the background has a lot of noise going on. Could you please cut it off? Because I don't want to have to start muting people myself. That noise. Now, Chantel, did you Skype the sister in?
Yes, she's here.
Oh, she's here. Okay. Now, let me tell you this story before I bring this sister on. Is Kim here? Is Kim there? I can't hear Kim. Your phone is, I think something matter with your phone, Kim. Hang up and call back in again. All right. Now, let me tell you this. Now, we have a regular show. We ain't trying to get all known and everything. Only thing we want to do is pass out information, real information that's going to uplift our people. We're Garveyites. I, too, was in the same division of the UNIA that Umar was in, but I wasn't in there when he was in there. But the same elders that was left over from the elder that didn't trust him told me the same thing. I was all for him. I was like, Umar. I was on the Umar bandwagon. I had him on my show. You know what I'm saying? I had him on this very show that I'm talking about. I was on the Umar bandwagon. I loved the guy. Oh, Umar, he's going to do something. This my brother. But then time started going, and you started seeing all these inconsistencies in the brother and everything. And then the elders started popping back up in my head that was telling me these things. And I was like, thinking they was hating on the young guy. Oh, y'all hating on the young brother because I'm a little older than Umar, but Umar's younger than me. So I figured the elders was hating on me because we all wanted a little position in there. Everybody want to, be up there and get on the podium and speak their piece and all that stuff. But the elders was holding everybody back, but it was a good reason because I learned before of not being a fad. So what happened with Umar and them down there, we laid it out on the last show where Umar was, caught up in the building scandal and some type of money building scandal back in the day in Division 121 in Philly. Now, you can go to Philly. You can ask anybody from Philly. It's known all over Philly. I'm surprised y'all don't talk to no Philly people about what's going on because as far as I'm concerned, I don't even think Umar Johnson could fill a phone booth in Philly. So he's known outside Philly. People don't know him. And Philly is a very intricate place to survive. Believe me, I lived there from 2008 to 2015. And Philly is not the city of brotherly love. Let me tell you, that is just that's a falsehood. What you say up to that, Brother Bartlett?
Yes, Philadelphia is a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, it's a hard crack.
It's a very hard nut to crack. And if you can sell it to Philadelphia, it's going worldwide. The Philadelphia Negro is very conservative and laid back. Very observant.
You ain't gonna go.
One of the things that happened at one Akbar.
Yeah.
Hello?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that happened that's clear in my mind, that Umar wanted to start an organization down there, right? And so I asked him, what kind of organization that you trying to start? Is it going to be a for-profit or non-profit, right? He didn't know. Okay, so that squashed that. All right. So now somebody said that the brother was starting a school. I said, well, okay, that's if he can do it. What kind of crew that he had with him? You have to have a board of directors. You have to have a staff if you're going to be dealing with people giving you donations, and you have an organization. You got the school, so you have to have a board. I have not yet heard of anyone being on that board. So when people give them their monies to people who don't have no real plan, people don't know about the plan. You just know that somebody tell you that they want to start a school, and they kick out all the stuff that they want to do, all boys school, and they'll be living on the campus and all of that. You're selling people a dream, but you don't have no real, you don't have nothing to back that dream up. All you asking for is a donation. You see what I'm saying? And the people who are giving their money to someone who are not giving them an idea of what it is that he's doing, is there a group of your people, or is the UNIA involved? Who is involved with you, etc. But none of these things came up. So I see it as a scam. If somebody going to ask me for a donation and they don't have staff, they don't have a treasurer, a secretary, or president, or chairperson, you know what I'm saying, or a board of directors, if you give your money to somebody like that, you're a fool. At least with the preachers, a preacher have a building already. The preacher have a spot. Now, if he had an office or someone somewhere where people could really get in contact with him or know where his office is that he's working from, if you're just coming out with nothing and asking people to give you money so that you can build your school, because that's all he ever say is my school. You see what I'm saying? My this, my that, I, my. So when you hear a person talking like that, you know that person is not really for the people. You know, that's been my experience, and I have over 40 years of experience in dealing with organizations, all kinds of organizations in Philadelphia with our people. You see what I'm saying? So it's disheartening to realize in this day and time that you have people who are so gullible that they would give their money to someone who sells them a dream. You see, you would think that Teflo Dollar and all these preachers, you know what I'm saying, is doing this to our people, but for someone to come under the disguise of being a Pan-Africanist, a Garveyite, and all these high names and stuff, but there is no substance to the individual. There's no substance to the plan to have the school. If you want to have a school, you should put the school right here in Philadelphia. There's 121 UNIA building. You could fix that up with the amount of money that you're supposed to have. You say you got $500,000, you know, you could make 4 or 5 schools in Philadelphia, anywhere else. And also, with the schools, with the Pan-African schools, the Afrocentric schools that's already in existence, you could, you know, we got these fantastic egos And that's one of the problems. Our people got this, I call it the Jesus Christ syndrome, where all these individuals think that they're the saviors of the black community. Yeah. You see them? And that's been a thing in Philadelphia that's been going, not only Philadelphia, but all over the country. You see it everywhere. These Negro preachers, these Negro so-called activists and leaders, they ain't nothing. There's nothing to these guys. There's no substance to these guys. You see, if there was substance, there would be institutions. You see what I'm saying? But there is no substance. We're just fooling ourselves, you see, and we're playing right into the hands of those who want to keep us subservient to a system that is designed to destroy us. And that's one of the things that I don't understand. You see, that you keep giving your money away to people who really don't have no plan. There is no plan. If there's a plan, it would have been laid out, and I'm quite sure if there was a plan, intelligent people would support it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You can only get people who think that they know or want to know. Novices, people who never been in the struggle, never did anything of substance in the community. You see what I'm saying? So it's mind-boggling. And I hope that tonight we can clear up this controversy so we can get on into nation building, community building, and family building, and economic development. That's what we need, most of all. So on that note, that's about it for me, and I'm quite sure that the listening audience tonight, if they listen with an open mind, then they can draw their own conclusion about this situation, you see. And it's not, you don't want to tell people, I told you so. People don't want to hear that. But if you refuse to accept facts when facts are laid in front of your face, then you have a deep psychological problem. And this is what Brother Umar knows, that we have a problem. You see what I'm saying? And he's playing on the weakness of our community and the divisiveness in our community. So on that note, that's about it for me. I want to hear what these sisters have to bring to the table.
Yeah, this is what we came here for, to hear what the sisters got to put on the table. And we're going to introduce Sister Santa. Sister Santa is from Holland, and Umar was over there in, I believe, 2014. Am I right, sister?
Yes, that's correct. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much for raising that speaker up, because we're having a little sound problem tonight for some reason. And he was over there in 2015, and he went over there on his, his world tour, he was calling it, collecting monies and everything from the school and everything for the school over here. And I want the sister to lay out what happened over there. The sponsor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's like a few minutes past 1:30 at night, so there's a time difference. I don't know what time it is over there with you. So I would like to briefly introduce myself. I was very deeply involved in organizing the event of Umar Johnson back here in Holland and Amsterdam and Rotterdam, and also in my home country in Suriname. That is a small country next to Brazil in South America. So he did actually a global tour, and it was called the fundraising tour. So I first met Umar Johnson in January 2014. That's the first time he came to Amsterdam, when he did his first lecture. We got acquainted, and he announced that he would do a lecture in Suriname. That was in March the same year. So in March, I flew over to Suriname because I had some things to do, and I got in touch with the organization over there. They did know Umar personally, so I volunteered to help them out because I already got acquainted with him. So they made me his personal assistant, and apparently Umar was impressed about my organizing skills because I made sure that everything was, well managed during his stay in Suriname. He promised people over there that he would buy a plot of land and establish a school chapter in Suriname. So people got really, eager to know more about it, and there were a couple of meetings that we attended to with him to discuss these possibilities or to go in further steps to proceed as being promised. So what happened, I got some cadastral maps of the plot of land, and I sent it over to Umar. I never got a response of that. So I just left it alone, for 3 months, and all of a sudden, in June 2014, he contacted me. So I was really surprised, and I mentioned the fact that I sent him several emails during March and April regarding the project for the school that he wanted to establish in Suriname. So after that, he actually announced that, he's going to change course. There's a school that is being up for sale. That's the St. Paul's College. He wanted to purchase that school. So in order to do that, he wanted to set up this fundraising tour, and he was looking to get back to Holland because there was a big response when he came here the first time, and people were really, excited to see him again because he made such an impression. You have to understand, in the Netherlands, we have a very small African diasporic community. We're in a population of 17 million people, we are just 500,000 black people. And if someone from the United States comes over here, for us it's a big deal because we are not familiar with such speakers on that particular level. So people were like, word, we got to let this happen. So he and I teamed up. He had planned to do a fundraising tour in the UK, in London and Birmingham and Liverpool and 2 other places in Britain, and that's just an hour flight from from London to Amsterdam. So it was actually very logical to plan it in the same period. So in December 2014, Umar actually came over to Amsterdam, and we had a 4-day event, well attended, 70 to 80 people per event. That's quite a lot because we do not have this advanced conscious community like yours in the United States. So for us, it's when at least 50 people show up to these kind of lectures, then we can call it a success. So during those 4 days, there were 2 days of lecturing and 2 days of showing the Hidden Colors documentary, where he also was a part of, and then he would show it partially, and after that, then there was a questionnaire that the attendees could ask him questions about the project of the school, but also his philosophy on certain items that are very peculiar for the black community. So, in that being said, it was very successful when it comes to the fundraising. It was very successful when it comes to the people that show up, and people really were eager to be part of it because he was also handing out these lists that people could register. These registration lists were, filled in by the people who came over there who wanted to be part of a chapter of the FDMG parent committee. So that means that he would establish a chapter here in Amsterdam and in Rotterdam in order for black parents to communicate amongst themselves, where they could address certain issues on education, special ed, medicine prescriptions that are being given to children because of some, illness reports, finance, but also legal issues. And these people would fill it in, and then they would be part of a bigger mailing list. But he also recruited people to be part of the school. So what actually happened was that he gave out his request that, look, if you are interested in working at the school, then you have to send in your resume to certain email address, where then you have to explain your curriculum, what your talents and your specialties are, and which job you would like to apply for. And you have to understand, a lot of these people were, unemployed because they got laid off, or they're in between jobs and stuff like that. So it was music to their ears to hear that this would be a job opportunity and a career shift, because he also recruited for not only teachers but also school nurses, janitors, carpenters, security, anything possible that you would need in a boarding school, you could apply for it. So it was really a massive impact for these people, and of course, asking for donations multiple times, and being very persistent on keeping the donations flow on behalf of this school fund. So that is basically the whole story. How he, entertained the people here in Holland and in Suriname.
So let me ask you a question, sister. Out of all the things that he promised the people in Holland, the jobs, the chapter, him helping them with their children, and him giving them the information they need to know in Holland, even though he doesn't even know anything about Holland school system. He lives in America. And Philadelphia, they closed down 67 schools. There's 67 schools sitting there empty that he could buy in the city that he lives in Philadelphia. Yeah. You can look that up. It's all over the internet. They closed the schools in America like it's going out of style. So now let me ask you a question. Did any of the things, now this is 2014, that he promised the people over there come into filtration?
Nothing. Not one single thing. No. And actually, people actually start asking me questions because I am associated to him. Like, okay, is he going to come back? What is going to happen? I sent him my email. I never got a reply. I even sent him a phone text message the way that he instructed, because he requested to send a text message or a WhatsApp message. If you could send an email to him, he never replied to that. So people started asking me questions on what's on the agenda, what he's going to do, you know. So it was very sad and very, a little bit frustrating, because I personally was being also put to the side, because a part of the fact that these people got promised many things, I was also, you know, really involved in trying to get this job done. You have to understand, in my daily profession, I'm a real estate advisor, and I have a engineering background. So in my working field, I come across people who are willing and able to invest in property and real estate. So in the first week of January last year, I visited some investors in London who principal, that's Mr. Stitt, Pete Stitt, of the St. Paul's College, just to get some background information on the school. And he confirmed that Umar Johnson called him about the school, but there were no actions taken on his behalf. So with that information, I got like, well, sometimes you have to tap into other sources to get funding. So I went to London on a meeting with multiple investors. I made an executive summary. I didn't tell Umar yet because I wanted to surprise him, you know, to let him know, like, look, we are also on top of this game as well. So to combine forces, let's just, you know, make sure that we get in the door. So I went to London, got in this meeting. These investors were really interested and also willing and able to do the funding. They even offered me a funding proposition on a 5% loan for a mezzanine period. So like for 10 years. So it was like, wow, in these days you do not get it, but if you have the right, you know, connection, then of course you know where to look, especially because they were impressed about the type of property is being sold at St. Paul's College. It's a very beautiful property. So I got back to Amsterdam. The first thing I did, I called Umar up. I called him several times. It took me a week to get him on the phone. So in the midst of January, I could finally tell him, like, look, I might have a solution, you know, to get the funding, because the school is up for sale on an auction and time is running out. And then when I elaborate and explain about my conversation with these investors, instead of being happy about it, he was like, no, I'm not going to engage in this kind of thing, because these investors are only looking to get, you know, profit on children's back. So that's why it's me, because I'm like, are you going to get this money only based on funding? And he was like, it's better to get on funding. I mean, like, if you want to get this quickly done, then you need to do this with some, you know, some investment capital. Otherwise, the plan won't stick. So we got some, you know, back and forth discussion, and I said, like, well, you cannot just go around on tour talking about your message. Why don't you set up a crowdfunding? He was like, no, I am not going to do that, blah, blah. I was like, okay. Then I don't know what to tell you. So I left it alone. 2 months later, crowdfunding page showed up. So in January, he actually blackballed me, like, I'm not gonna, squash that. And then in the second week of March, last year, 2015, he announced that he had a GoFundMe page. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So, yeah. So that's basically the whole story.
Now, tell
about the funding and stuff.
Sister Santa.
Yes.
Did you hear me, Chantel?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's Sister Santa, right? You were saying that he walked away from $4 million in 2014, that a loan that you got him at a 5% interest rate or lower.
Yes, that's correct. In 2015, he turned down a financial loan of 5% interest. That's correct.
And were the people black? Were the people that were going to make him the loan, were they black people?
They were actually a mixture because those people would tap into several funds. It would be actually combined, but primarily Asian people because they like real estate, and Nigerian people. Yeah,
well, no matter how it goes, you're gonna have to get funding for a school. And anybody in this in their right mind in America that think that they're going to do any business without the white man having something to do with it, he prints the money, and he produces and prints the money, they're out of their mind. I mean, they done lost their mind. Because somewhere down the line, I don't care how much of an Afrocentric you claim to be, you're going to have to deal with the honky. Especially if you reach in your pocket and you got honkies in your pocket all day long if you got money. So if you don't like white people, you need to throw that money in your pocket away too. Matter of fact, you can give it to me, because some people get crazy. We're not in the position.
When it comes to funding, when it comes to capital resources, the chances are is you either deal with Asians or you deal with white folks. You do not have much choice because black people with money are less likely to invest in your project just because of the fact that there is no trust, and they do not grant it to other people of their own cultural background. It's the truth. I cannot change it. That's why I went all the way to London to talk to some Asian folks. We
go deep into that. We just want to make a correlation. In 2014, he ran away and walked away from a $4 million loan that he was going to be able to get to help build the school. Then he came over here and got into the conscious stripper scandal, right? And claimed that that she made him lose $1 million. But he walks away from $4 million. Now, this just doesn't sound right. How do you walk away from $4 million loan, that you can get to help the school if you really wanted a school, right? And then you come to America and make up a story when the stripper come out, or you all of a sudden make up this story. Nobody knew about this basketball player until the stripper scandal, because this is what he used to deflect the people away from the so-called stripper scandal that he had. I don't keep seeing how y'all keep drinking this Kool-Aid, but it's y'all. Whoever wants to keep drinking the Kool-Aid, have another glass on me.
The Kool-Aid tastes too damn good.
What I'm saying
is good. But here's the point.
What I'm saying is, come here for a minute. Let me finish. He came here and he demeanored this sister that he went and slept with. He chose to sleep with her. He chose to walk up on that sister. I'm quite sure that this sister didn't just walk up on him and say, come on, let's go and do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I mean, the man ain't no Billy D. Williams. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that this guy came back over here use the excuse that the lady made him lose $1 million. We had a show. His people came out on another show just before, after mine, when Kim was on, and said that they were gonna have, and this is over 6 months ago, they were gonna show papers about this school, and they was gonna be transparent. Not been transparent. You asked him about this thing, he went off on you. They had the Boyce Watkins. He went off on him. He went off on that little girl, that little young lady that's on the Boyce Watkins channel. He went off on her. He went off on them other guys who be clowning on the because most of them, all of them is the same, as far as I'm concerned. When you begging for donations, believe me, that's when the red flag should go up. When somebody's asking you for donations and you don't see no plan, you don't see no nothing, red flag's gonna go up. Now, I'm gonna let you rest for a minute, Sister Sana. I want to bring Kim on so she can discuss what she has to say. Kim, the mic is yours.
Hi, thank you for having me. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for listening in. I'm back, all you return listeners. Now, my take on Umar Johnson is very apparent if you follow any of my social media accounts. I personally make no concession for Umar Johnson, and my personal feeling is Umar Johnson is of no use to the black community. Let me say this again so you can be clear. Umar Johnson is of no use to the black community. Now, for his listeners, and a lot of people are waking up, and I'm so glad to see that because you guys keep me going. Thank you for questioning. Thank you for thinking for self. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys who you get out there on social media and you fight for me and you raise your voice. You help out in this movement, and I appreciate you guys. I want to thank you all again so much. You guys have been wonderful. I mean, absolutely amazing, and I just want to thank you for that. Keep it up, guys. Now, there are people who are still stuck in denial. Now, I know we don't want to have patience with those people, but what we need to understand is Umar is very clever. He knows how to manipulate any situation. He's very intelligent in that manner. Now, everything he tells you about somebody else, he's really telling on himself. He's telling you about himself if you go back and pay attention. I've studied him very carefully. Now, this is what he has done. He knew that this day was coming. He already planned for this day. He knew it was coming. So what Umar did, he thought ahead of time, and he learned from his earlier mistakes with the UNIA, and he's had 20 years to perfect his kind, and this is what he's been doing for the past 20 years. He knew that this day was coming, so what he did was primed his followers. He primed you. What I mean by primed you is he kept harping on there are going to be people that's going to come after me, and they're going to be haters. They're going to try and stop the movement. They're going to be agents. He planted those seeds a long time ago, and he kept repeating the same thing just to get you all primed, so that when somebody came along to show you the truth that this man is, in fact, a fraud, you would already be in defense mode because he has already programmed you to be that way. The same as the Bible does. The Bible does the same thing. It tells you, watch out. Don't let anybody deceive you. Now, this is the deceiver telling you not to let anybody else deceive you. So Umar has done the same thing. And that is why you see so many people, the hatred that comes out of his followers, the vile comments that come out of his followers. And these people don't know who Umar is. People don't know. We just learned that this man affectionately calls a white woman his mother on his own documents. I want to know who is this white woman, how did she become Umar's mother? But we're going to get back to that. My point is, they want to holler, this person's an agent, that person's an agent, but Umar has a white mother. So you know very little about Umar. But so many of his followers are ready to lay down their lives for this man who they know so little about and refuse to take the blinders off for 1 minute to question and see, well, wait a minute. Everybody can't be telling the same lie. this can't just keep happening to somebody for 20 years over and over again. The same things, the same scenarios don't just keep happening to people for no reason. There's a reason behind it. The reason controversy follows Umar is because he is the one creating the controversy. Stop telling other people who are pointing out these things that they're the ones creating the controversy, because they are not. It is Umar. Now, let me get back to the weak-minded followers. So now that the time has come, he's been prepared for it. He's ready. And we know we already knew he was ready because we watched his followers. We saw, and he laid back and he relished in it. Now, I'm going to tell y'all why he's laughing at y'all, his followers, his supporters. He's laughing at you because when you guys are on social media, and yes, I do be reading it. I'm nosy. I'm reading it all. You guys get on there and you beg and you praise, and he does not respond to any one of you. Not one of you. How foolish can you be to be climbing and crawling up somebody's behind like that, and they won't even take a minute to say thank you? How foolish can you be? My son needs some help. Umar, can you please help? Umar, you did a great job. Umar, I need to speak to you. All this begging going on. I've never seen anything like it. This is just insane to me. You people have no pride in self. So you see, he cares nothing about you, and he's not ashamed to show you that. So he does not respond, and you see how he's using you because the only time he speaks to his followers is to do his dirty work. Go shut her down. Oh, go do this. These agents are after me. That's the only time he responds to any of his followers, is to go do some dirty work for him. Nothing else. Tell me I'm wrong, and I will prove you a liar. Now, to move on further, what he has done is he has taken advantage of weak-minded people, and he's programmed you by entertaining you, by building a fake repertoire when he comes out to the little lectures and pretends and makes all these promises. So basically, it's pretty much just like the Jim Jones. And if you guys aren't familiar with Jim Jones, please go check out the documentary, please. Do not fall into that weak-minded category and drink your own poison and walk to your own death. So Umar knew that people were pliable to unknown knowledge and the promises of uplifting black people out of oppression. He knew this. And that's exactly what he has been playing on and still playing on. And if you look at it, he has done since, I'm not even going to go back to 20 years. I'm going to talk about since I've known the man, since he's come to my attention. Since he's come to my attention, and the very first radio show I did, I told you all that the only thing Umar was interested in was his events. What the hell do you see on his social media? Event after event after event, lecture after lecture after lecture. The conceitedness, the narcissism is insane. That is all you see on the man's social media. Nobody does it like me. Wow, sold out. These little venues, anyway, sold out. I did this, I did that. Then he shows you the PayPal that he's bragging in your face. He's throwing it in your face, and y'all still sucking it up. Y'all can't see it. This man is using y'all and then throwing it right in your face. And the sad part is, a lot of y'all condone that. Go ahead, Umar. Get him, Umar. It's insane. If you knew how you look and knew how this man is using you, you wouldn't be so proud to be sitting up there encouraging this foolishness. Now, let's get to what he has shown you. And let me say this, too. Let me get this out the way. Everybody is not a hater, and I'm going to tell you from me personally, I have nothing to hate on Umar about. He has nothing that I want. If I wanted him, I guarantee you I would still be in the bed with him. Obviously, I chose not to. Now, that was another thing in question that Umar confirmed. Go back and listen to him on the Breakfast Club, and he confirms exactly what I said. I walked away. I will not be one of the weak women who will settle for anything no matter how messed up he is. That is how I liken his followers. You stick to him, you like, okay, well, yeah, he is messed up, but we ain't got nothing else. Just like a woman who has no confidence in herself to get anything else, so she'll sit there and tolerate everything. And that's exactly what you all are doing as his followers. Oh, well, he's not perfect. Oh, well, I know he messed up, but who else? And that's another thing. What does Umar have that we need. I don't see it. I know y'all not talking about knowledge. I don't see there's no knowledge. What information is Umar giving you all that we didn't already know? See, those of us who are self-educated, we are not impressed with Umar's knowledge because it's outdated. It's there's no solutions in it at all. He's only repeating the problems that everybody else has been repeating. What new info? Please call in and tell me, please. I really want to know because I'm perplexed. What new information has Umar offered us? What kind of research and studies has Umar done and said, okay, I've researched this, I had a study team do this, and this is what we need? There is none of that. Umar is riding off of Amos Wilson, Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, and any other great he can find to steal work from. And he's getting away with it because a lot of you all don't read, and don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm just speaking out the reality of it. The reality of it is if you do not read and learn things for yourself, you will be taken and mesmerized with knowledge of something that's really insignificant. That's really not telling you anything. He has created no type of solutions. And as far as the school thing, though, you can read my blog and see how I feel about the school. Anybody with common sense would automatically know that school will never work. The government is not going to allow us to build this infrastructure that's going to take over white supremacy. It's not going to happen. And they've shown us this in the past. So let's get off of stupid and get out here and start to read and do our own research and learn from history and stop taking the word of one man who is, and I listened to some of his stuff, and he couldn't be more wrong on so many levels. But he gets away with it because he knows that he's lecturing in front of a group of people who refuse to sit down and open up a book. So he can get away with it. You're not going to question him because you don't know that he's wrong. You don't know that he has the information misconstrued. You don't know that information, and that white supremacy mess that he's feeding y'all, white supremacy, they about 100 steps ahead of that. That stuff is so old and outdated, it's of no use to us, which is why I say again, Umar is of no use to the black movement. I have no tolerance with it. Some people are like, oh, well, he can be fixed. No, he's done. He's done enough damage. He's been out here for 20 years. He hasn't done anything for the people. What good is he? What good is he to the black movement? Absolutely none. So I don't want to take up too much time, so I'll let somebody else come on in, and then I'll get into my narrative of it later on.
Well, before I bring in our special guest, Chantel Beatty, because she's our very special guest. She's going to lay it down so hard. I don't know what Umar's going to do after that. But before I bring her on, I'm going to bring on a brother who used to follow Umar since 2012, Brother Kwesi from Detroit. Brother Kwesi, are you in the house?
Yes, sir. How you doing? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing very good, my brother. I'm glad to have you in here, and I'm glad to have you on the show tonight. I mean, this brother here is he's a medical brother. He works in the medical field. He done did and put his dues in, stomping in the streets of Detroit, and down in Detroit right now visiting, and probably gonna be back in Philly in a couple more weeks. But I'm telling you now, Detroit now, he's on fight. These brothers out here doing what they need to do to try to get the community together. They got some real grassroots stuff going on down. I want to see some grassroots movement come down to Detroit. They got the Detroit Water Brigade. They got Nancy's Cafe. They got the Detroit 300. They got the New Era movement. I mean, these brothers are on it. They going for all the speeches and lectures and all that. Actually out here in the streets doing some stuff. I'm telling you, it's exciting to see this. Brother, let's see what you got to put. Yes, we can hear you. Talk loud as you
can. All right.
Down that information.
Okay, brother, thank you. First of all, I just want to say good evening to everybody, all the listeners, and the guests that's on the show tonight. And thank you, Kim. I just want to say you really broke it all down in detail. I said the same thing. You're welcome. Those who do not read or study anything that has a history of that will not grasp on to what this man is doing, because that's basically all he's doing. He's regurgitating everything that I had already knew years ago from reading the works of Dr. Jawanza Kajuku. You said Dr. Amos Wilson. There's another brother, Dr. Bobby Wright. And it's pretty much the same thing what he's saying. But what I wanted to say was that I started following Umar. It was around 2010. I just wanted to add that. It was 2010. I had saw a video of what he did at the Black and Noble Bookstore on YouTube about Obama and his agenda and the New World Order type thing. And also at the same time, I was a follower. I didn't really follow him that much, but, you know, I was a fan of Tariq Nasheed at one point. Also, time goes on, I was really impressed by what he was saying. I was pretty much, the brother is right. You know, he's very intelligent. He knows what's going on, and, you know, this is somebody we can support. So then as time goes on, he was on Dawa Israel show in Chicago. It was a cable access. And I saw that video on YouTube where he was talking about the black boys being with psychotropic drugs, and there was agenda going out to attack them, and we need to subsidize our education and educate our boys as well. So then time goes on, then Hidden Colors came out. And Hidden Colors came out, he was on there. And right then and there, I noticed that Hidden Colors made him more popular with his time in the document. And I was impressed by that as well. And then, like I said, I used to follow Tariq Nasheed and all the friends on Facebook. Everybody was more impressed with Umar than anybody else in the documentary. And then as, listening to him, following him, he's planning on opening up this school and everything. And then all of a sudden, I say about early 2013, he had a disagreement with some brothers from Texas. I think it was like something. Can you hear me?
Speak a little louder.
Okay.
Yeah, speak a little louder.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. He had this disagreement. He did a tour down there. I guess he did a lecture down there in Texas in Fort Worth. And he had, I guess, some type of falling out with these brothers from Texas, the Lone Star RBG thing going on. And for what I had noticed, they was exposing him. They was like, F Umar, don't support Umar, this, Umar ain't like what a lot of people think it is. And then he made some type of stat he did on Facebook. He sounded like, he was cursing, and he started calling them names and all types of other things. I kind of noticed his demeanor. I'm thinking, like, this brother's supposed to be a man of the mind. You're supposed to help uplift our community and our people, and you're carrying on like you some type of thug or something. That was like the first red flag that came to my mind. But then a lot of people were like, on Facebook was saying, no, I want y'all to squash this. Y'all can work this thing out. Put this mess to the side and, come together. And, I still supported him at the time, and I just kept it moving. But then also there was other red flags that popped up about his child support case, and he was calling some sisters feminazis and feminists because of his work and this child support issue, that he's not supporting his daughters and all this other stuff, and then came up with the Sarnetta issue where he was going to expose him talking to one of his daughter's mothers about him, and then later on that was all on social media. It was just going berserk with it. And then next thing you know, he came on the show with his sister. I can't remember who the sister's name was, but he cleared the airwaves about the whole mess with the Sarnetta situation and the child support issue, and cleared it all out. And then there was reports of him saying that he was with a white woman in London, England, where he did a lecture. And he said that wasn't true. And then he wanted to know who put out this information to show some proof. So, he cleared that up. And then also, I'm trying to make it as brief as I can. And then, that was another red flag for me. Then he came to Detroit he came here several times. I went for his lecture. The first time he came to Detroit was in February of 2012. And he was at this the Fellowship Chapel on the West Side. And he did a lecture with another brother who was a health practitioner. I can't remember his name, but he did an outstanding lecture there at the time. And as time goes on, I kind of noticed, I know this is trivial to some people. Time goes on, he comes back here several times. I noticed his style of dress started to enhance a little bit. You know, the brother is, wearing sports clothes like the Philly hat. It's kind of a pair that young brothers wear. And then also the African attire that he was wearing, I know it costs a pretty penny. Now, like I say, I know there's trivial to some, but to me, that kind of raised red flag. So the last time I stopped supporting him was before what they call the conscious stripper scandal. This was in the last day of Kwanzaa, the first day of Kwanzaa in December of 2013. Now, this is what I'm going to say. It was a free lecture. When I recognized what he was wearing, now, he had on some like Air Force Ones, brand new, what the young people call it, crispy or whatnot. And then he had on this sweatshirt with Frederick Douglass on it. It was a yellow sweatshirt with Frederick Douglass on it, promoting school. Now, this is the take-all right here. He had on a pair of True Religion jeans, premium denim as they call it. Now, I used to wear several pairs on myself, and I sold them. I got rid of them, but I'm going to tell you one thing. These jeans, you can go on their website and see it for yourself. These jeans cost anywhere from $150 to almost $400 a pair. Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you, brother.
Oh, okay. All right. It was kind of silent there. Yeah, these jeans are very expensive. Now, my thing of it is that I know he already started the campaign to collect funds for his school. So I'm thinking like, wait a minute, I know he does lectures, I know he's getting an honorarium fee for it, and then he collects the money for the school, and I'm sure he can have some type of access to some of that account, to the money in the account. And I'm thinking like, I mean, these jeans are high, they're expensive. And so right then and there, that was the ultimate red flag. And then as time goes on, people started asking about what's going on with the school, what's the plan, what documentation do you have? And then there was a lot of red flags that came up after that. So I had already stopped supporting him. And then I had several people that told me that they stopped supporting him because of that. Because there's no type of transparency, there's no type of worksheet or, what is it? That's the question. So then as time goes on, there's so many schools here also in the city of Detroit that were available for purchase. And he even promised that he was going to look around at some of these buildings. He even told us in the lectures that I attended that was here, that when he was here, that anybody who had some information about any buildings, please email me or give me your contact number. And I knew a couple of people who have done that. And Umar never got back with him.
Brother Quazy.
He never got back with him. Yes, sir.
Brother Quazy. Well, I'm not going to call the sister's name. One of the sisters that used to bring him in town told me that a guy, one of the that she know, came to Umar and he came back here to her place with three buildings, the $10,000 empty schools. They were trying to get them. And he took their number and never got back like he usually does.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
This is my opinion. My opinion is that Umar never wants to work with anybody or any legitimate organization outside of these people that he tends to act like they work for him and stuff, his companies and followers and stuff. And because he knows if he works with somebody legit, they're going to find out that it's all a sham. That's why he never works with nobody.
Exactly.
Go ahead, brother.
And okay, thank you. Exactly. And these two people started having second thoughts about Umar. And after that, they stopped supporting him. And I had spoke to these people, and I told them my reason for not stop supporting them, from my time that I had supported them. But like I said, something has got to give. There's a lot of things that people don't know anything about. And I even witnessed it in person. I witnessed it on social media, that this man has a lot of people around his finger. And also another thing I wanted to add to is that what he does when he comes here, I've seen this myself. A lot of sisters are attracted to him. I mean, they look at him like he's like, I would say, like some rock star or something because of the knowledge that he spews. And to me, it's like a hypnotic type of gesture. And I've seen sisters go up to him, and I admit I took a pic of him with, myself. I took a pic with him myself, but that was during my time I was supporting. But now looking back at it, I see it for myself. And, and then also on social media, a lot of brothers are defending him. And to me, I had people block me. I had people unfriend me because they asked me what was my opinion of Umar, and I told them the truth. And then I had even challenged those who support him. Okay, now since you want to talk about proof, has he shown you any type of documentation or any type of updates with the school that he's collecting for as far as funding? Do you have to show that? What's the progress? What is it? They couldn't say nothing. But they kept calling me a hater, and all they talk about was, oh, well, he had sex. He's a grown man. At least he's not gay. That's not what the point is. The point is the character. And so many, there's even sisters supporting him still. That's what they're looking at. They're not really looking at.
Can I speak on that right quick while we're on that? Okay, let me clear that up for everybody. From the very beginning, if you guys would get the sex out of your heads, because that's for the book, from the very beginning, I did not touch on the sex. And this did not happen because of our sex. How you all turned it into that is what you wanted to make it. But go back to the first show. This has never been about sex. The reason I walked away from Umar is because I saw for myself, because I met up with him personally, up close and personal, that he was a fraud. Now, I'm not one of those women, and he's right. There are a lot of women who want to be on his arm and in his bed. I'm not impressed with that. You have to be right within. Your character has to be right for me to want to be with you. If I see that character ain't right and that there are some signs of some serious mental issues, I'm not going to be with you because I'm not capable of dealing with people with mental issues. Now, I saw signs of mental issues as well as fraud activity. I'm not going to be with somebody for that. So that is what made me walk away from Umar. The sex had nothing to do with it. So why do you all keep saying it was the sex? It was not the sex. That is not what made me walk away. What made me walk away is what I told you in the beginning. I recognized that he was insincere about getting a school. When I tried to connect him with a legitimate guy who had a school, he wasn't interested. And the sister just told you the same thing. He walked away from it. It's not something he wants. He can't keep milking it if he actually gets it. If he actually gets it, you all will see the disaster of it. He's incapable of bringing about what he's been promising. And I can guarantee you that. That's why I wish somebody would hurry up and bring up a school so you can see it for yourself. He will fail. It will be a disaster. So
I can imagine.
Again,
I can imagine how children under his tutelage would be. I mean, they'd be calling women beat.
He has shown his behavior. Yes, he has shown you all exactly what I said about him. He's egotistical. He has a temper. He does not respect black women. He goes from everything, and I know all the sisters out there, oh, I got the golden kitty cat. He going to want mine. Go for it, sister. he ain't going to treat you no different than he been treating all the rest of the sisters for the past 20 years. You will be no different. I guarantee you that. So y'all want to stick up to him like you going to be the next one? Okay, make a fool out yourself. Go right ahead. Be my guest. So I hope we can put the sex issue to rest. I brought it to light because there are a lot of parents who are legitimately waiting for their children to have other alternatives to get a good education. That's why I brought it to the forefront, and I've never deviated from that. So let's get that together.
Yeah, but I remember when I had you on the show, I told anybody that if you start talking about sex, I'm going to cut you off because it wasn't about sex.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
The only thing that they can use to defend him was this sex thing. I mean, this is the only thing.
They're trying to minimize it. Yeah, they think they can minimize it with that.
Wanted to talk about the accountability, and the first thing they asked you that Umar is a phony, they want proof. They want proof.
Right.
But they don't want proof about the school. Now, this is crazy.
Exactly.
They want proof.
Brother Oscar, the same way we sit there laughing at this is how Umar's laughing at his followers.
I know Umar probably don't. He probably done bust brains. He taking them all the way to the back. Probably done bust a brain cell.
Yes.
Let me bring Brother Quasi back on. Brother Quasi, you got some in the back of your going on with you, so I had to mute you. So check out that noise. I'm bringing you back on now. And brother, finish up real quick so I can bring Professor Chantel Eddy on.
Okay, thank you, brother. Yeah, because I thought I was cut off there. I just muted
you. Had some noise going on back there. Yeah, I think he was texting or something. Go ahead and finish up.
Okay, brother. Yes, I just wanted to touch on that because I wanted to conclude because so many of these brothers and sisters, that's all they think about. And, you know, what Kim said was absolutely correct. And this is what I was telling a lot of people. Stop thinking about that part. And then right there tells me how, and I'm going to have to say no offense to anybody, I'm just going to have to say that this is how gullible so many of our people are who follow him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very gullible. And very close-minded.
See, I think a lot of that is our fault that was on social media because we didn't really warn the people about the Umar type and all that stuff. But we started teaching about 6 years ago on Facebook, and we started teaching, and all of these new people don't really know about the black parasites that come into the movement.
Exactly. They haven't been primed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kim's right. Umar primed them. I mean, he primed them. He's always talking about COINTELPRO. I mean, going all the way back to 2004, COINTELPRO was after him. Showed this on the first show. 2004, COINTELPRO ain't caught your ass in. Now, they ain't looking.
He's a clown. He's not even on the radar. They laughing at him. He made a mockery of the entire black movement because he's a clown. You can't see it.
You could go online. Look, you could go online. Umar put a manifesto up there in 2004 about the UNIA when he fell out with them. And back then, he's talking about Pro was following him in Africa and all this stuff. I'm like, Pro ain't shit no more. Because they should have been got your ass.
Exactly. And yes, and that's another. Everybody in their right mind knows a real leader does not last for 20 years. That should be a tell-all right there.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, and then even with the Louis Farrakhan thing, I don't want to get into him because I don't want to turn this to the Farrakhan show because I had a lot of things to say about him. It's amazing. Amazing how him, Reverend Chicken Wing, and all this stuff is able to fool our people. You know, I mean, black people. I mean, it's a shame. almost
Yeah, you know, Brother Akbar, I say we need to build a whole new curriculum, just created from scratch, to teach our people the art of deception. We need a curriculum on it.
That's true.
It's so used to being bamboozled that any can come with any type of story, and they ready to go for it. Tell them that they Moroccans. Tell them that they Yahweh ben anything. The Negro is totally. And when you trying to wake them up to facts, they don't want to hear facts. They want to believe in some bullshit. And Omar Johnson got to school, and they believe in the school so hard that they don't look at the reality that this guy is shamming them. Anytime you ask somebody about the money you donate, and they tell you blatantly they ain't got to tell you nothing, to give you no information or nothing, that right there, you should know that he's not right. So now look, we got Chantel, but we ain't even let Chantel say nothing yet. She got the bombshell. I'll wait to bring her on, and I also want to mention Brother Mukasim, who wrote this beautiful essay and blog that he put out about Umar, that anybody with their right mind need to go read it. It's circulating all over the internet. Last time we checked, shared over 10,000 times. And Brother Mukasim is an educator. He's in Philly, and he's the one who offered the Ray Hagins thing against Ray Hagins. When Ray Hagins was out here acting like a madman, he wrote that manifesto on Ray Hagins. When Ray Hagins was going to call the cops on Aswa Kwesi for some old crazy stuff. I mean, you know, it's just a whole bunch of charlatans. We're going to have to keep on running them on out. They come, they take a lot from us, but we get them every time. But we ain't in a position to do to these traders what we should be able to do to them. But one day we will be. Chantel Beatty, the eminent MBA, she has every credential that you could think of. And the biggest thing between her and Umar is she can show hers and he can't. The mic is yours.
Yes, thank you, Brother Akbar, and thank everybody on the panel and my sisters here. You guys have done a phenomenal job. Brother Akbar, I got to give you much, much love and much credit for standing up as a man and protecting your queen and putting this on the line for the integrity and characterization of us as African people all over the world.
I thank you, my sister. I thank you. But I'm not in no popularity contest. This is a revolution. We're supposed to be trying to move our people forward. And this is one of the stumps in the road that we had to even out so we can keep on pushing to our people make it to the promised land. Mike is yours.
Yes, sir. It's a revolution, and I'm former working with the military, and in command we must have straight integrity, and we must be able to follow essential protocols, else we will not be successful in this revolution. So that's why I give my thanks to you and all the people on the board here. I want to start off just briefly and quickly because I know we're pressed for time and just give a little background how I got involved because I'm not anybody known in the community at all. So as a former educator, it came back to my attention. I was a math teacher, and I'm certified in gifted and talented, very experienced in special education, experienced in ADD, ADHD, OD, ED, and autism and Asperger's. OD is opposition to defiant disorder, and LD is learning disabilities, and we all know ADD and ADHD, autism, and Asperger's syndrome. Also, I'm very experienced from a parent standpoint of view because one of my sons was diagnosed with ADD back in the early 90s. And he has since graduated high school and successful in college today. He did graduate from a public school. So I have been in that environment for some time. As I was going to leave, after I completed my MBA, and open up a charter school, my husband brought to my attention about Dr. Umar Johnson. And so I decided to take a little look at some of his information and what he was presenting. My concern came about from the very point that everybody is trying to say that they want to lean on Dr. Umar Johnson is they're saying, well, he's telling us this and he's doing the right thing. I am here to stand today as a former educator with a child who has been clinically diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, that he has been giving false and outdated information. Umar Johnson he's giving information that is pertaining to the early 90s, late 80s, the Ritalin and Adderall age, which is totally not today. We have classrooms that are fully involved with education specialists that are in the classroom. I have worked closely in the classroom with education specialists for special education. So with that said, that's how I got to start looking and start questioning who this man was who said that he was an educator or a psychologist in the field of education, and he is giving false information. I have also gone up against the Board of Education and won a lawsuit in regards to that. So what I'm saying here, when I say he is giving false information, I am putting my integrity on the line that he is giving false and outdated information to the people that cannot help you. Kim is exactly right. You need to ask, what is this information doing? The laws have totally changed. Now, going forward, I decided to do a video because I'm a business executive. I am not an agent. I am not COINTELPRO. I am totally for my people, the African conscious community, and fighting against the system of white supremacy. I have a firm, a international business firm that I own. I do hire black people. My board is 90% black and with black Americans, as we would say, and I'm saying Africans that are abroad, from Zimbabwe, Ghana, Jamaica, Nigeria, Canada, and the Bahamas. We have executives on there in finance who are lawyers, who are in agriculture and agribusiness, which is something that Umar was discussing in some of his videos, who are doctors in agriculture and business. And my circle of influence is predominantly pre-doctors and doctors. My firm has about, in our training program, our leadership training program, we have about 68 pre-doctors who are almost commencing to get their doctor's degree. So we also work with them and help them. So we have a lot of certified researchers, those who are actively involved in the field, and people who could have actually put something like this together for the community. And we're 90% African American and African all around the globe. So I presented a video for Umar because I was embarrassed as an African to see him out there trying to do crowdfunding for a $4 million project. And he constantly kept using the terminology me. Well, now you are publicly announcing or giving the opportunity or opening up to the African people and those involved with him. You're now opening up a legal situation or a potential investigation because in COINTELPRO and with the FBI, they're going to want to know why is a man doing crowdfunding and asking for $4 million, okay? That is something that is very serious, and the state and the government is now starting to crack down on these people. So my intentions were to cover for this brother and get him on the right track and let our firm pro bono, because once a year we offer pro bono, no money, no fees, no nothing, to help some of our people in the community to start business. At this time we were running an IPO project where we were wanting to help people for the first 5 years establish a corporation towards working to go public, because the research states that most businesses cannot last beyond 5 years. This was an opportunity where I had presented to my board, maybe we need to look into this, Dr. Umar Johnson, and trying to help and trying to cover for him, because this is an embarrassment. And people need to know that there are doctors and pre-doctors in finance, economics, agriculture, business, who can help the African community and who are willing to help the African community as philanthropists for free, no money, pro bono. Okay? We also help outside. We sponsor a place in Uganda. So we're not just limited to places outside of the United States, but we were willing to help here in the U.S. So this is how this came about with me. So I did a video asking, putting out the information, who we were and what we could do to help to cover this situation, to make it transparent and to make it globally transparent, because fraud is a big time thing that people are looking at, or white supremacists are looking at, to tear this whole playhouse down and take a lot of us down with it. So we were looking in the legal aspect to come and present and bring the integrity to the African conscious community, to the African people, and those in the diaspora. So going forward, I had, after I did not receive any contact, and I've tried to contact him before. That was back in 2011. I made several attempts to contact him. Some people told me that they would try to contact him with my information. I did not receive any information from him. The first contact that I ever received from him in my life was a meme displaying me as a pig. That is the only thing that I've ever gotten from Umar Johnson. Mukasa and I had did a collaboration that has gone around. I had done my own independent research. I contacted the school. This is something that if I were to have taken on a project as a CEO of an international company, I would have had to do my own investigation, because otherwise I would hold myself liable if the person is committing such acts as maybe identity theft and fraud. So I had several people asking me or also criticizing me for trying to help. So I went ahead, for the sake of the people who were concerned and didn't have access to a lot of information, I went ahead to decide to provide information for the people. And this is for the people by their request. So I contacted the school, PCOM, in regards to his doctorate. That would have been about a major concern right there, because he is considering to be a doctor. Considering most of this could have been done without holding that status, it is like, why is he using the term to be a doctor and trying to build a $4 million project? What you need is a team. You need a transparency. You need attorneys. You need accountants. You need financial directors. And my corporation so happens to have either that or contact of people who can provide that, and they are of African descent. So I did go ahead and do a letter. I'm going to give you 5 points that I addressed. This was to Umar Johnson, okay, because I wanted to give him the opportunity to come forward and to, to redeem himself, to vindicate himself from all the allegations and charges, and also to uncover us on a potential COINTELPRO scheme or government scheme for ever having any involvement with Dr. Umar Johnson. So I presented 5 points that the white supremacists would ask. My firm would definitely have asked him if we were to have worked together or in seeking that type of information. I'm going to read through this because I don't want to miss any information that has also been out from Mikasa or on the Internet. So if you bear with me, I'm going to read through these points and let you know exactly what we were trying to do to get Umar to redeem himself. And as you see, all I got was a notice that I'm a pig. So I stated, do our African leaders today display a form of honesty, fairness, integrity, and character in their forms of leadership today? Do we as Africans deserve any less than accountable African leadership? Dr. Umar Johnson's character is in question in the African community, and so is his knowledge and work. In light of African scholars, our ancestors, and pending scholars of today, we hold Dr. Johnson accountable to the scholarship that he brings to our minds, our homes, our families, and our communities. In the protection of our African-centered community, scholarship of our ancestors, and those who assume our ancestors' role today, I make a call to raise the standard of the African in leadership. I make a call to uphold integrity. I make a call to place our African leaders on a stand and judge by not only their knowledge and their work, but judge by their character. Today, I call Dr. Umar Johnson to the stand. Dr. Johnson, based on several concerns in the African community, you are hereby requested to follow up to the concerns and accusations presented below in order to remain an African leader in good standing in the African communities stateside and abroad. Dr. Johnson has presented himself to be a doctor of psychology and clinical psychology from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. The Student Clearinghouse, a third-party verification company for degree, submitted a degree verification response. They submitted it to me On July 22nd, 2015, the Student Clearinghouse verified that Mr. Johnson received notice I said Mr. Johnson. I did not say Mr. Umar Johnson. Mr. Johnson received a Doctor of Psychology in Clinical Psychology from PCOM on 11/14/2012 under the name of Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson. We do not know who Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson is. Dr. Johnson, what we need from you is a government-issued picture ID in the form of a driver's license or United States passport stating that you are, in fact, Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson. Please reveal in your submission photo, name, date of birth, and signature. Now, I'm asking here nothing no more than any of us credible people have been asked for simple things as basically getting a job teaching as a professor. I'm asking for no more than the white man will ask when he pulls you over for running a light or speeding or using your blinker when he wants to see your driver's license. People need to know who you are. I'm asking no more than Dr. Umar has asked everybody stateside and abroad when he wanted resumes, when he wanted pictures on their resumes. He wanted full credentials of the people before they started working from the school. I'm asking him no more than what he has asked the African community himself. So in order to keep balance, we were asking for the official records and a photo, and our records also include, but are not limited to, a full background investigation and Department of Motor Vehicle Records. Yes, I did run a full background investigation. Yes, I did contact the Department of Motor Vehicles. Yes, I do have a lot of documentation that I am holding, waiting to match it with his information. All other information included in your submission may be blurred and concealed. We also need verification of the diploma and or transcripts with a raised seal. Nobody in the system of white supremacy will ask a doctor or any credited person for anything less in giving them a simple job in the system of white supremacy, nothing less than a transcript with a raised seal, you can fill it, or the actual diploma with a raised seal. That is very important in ways that we eliminate fraud and identity theft, okay? You have to understand. My personal thing is the biggest con is the white supremacists. And right now I'm looking at activities in the black community that are now mirroring white supremacy and white supremacists themselves. So therefore I'm asking Dr. Johnson, letting him know that a commencement program will not suffice. The reason why I say this, because Umar totally blocked me off of his Facebook page when he was presenting the people and charging them for a commencement to see his commencement program. So I humbly asked him to please do not charge these people to see a commencement program, which then he is playing on the lack of resources and the lack of information and the lack of knowledge or the lack of where to go to get information, knowledge, and resources on the people by presenting them with a commencement form, which is not a validated proof of identity or doctrine. So I said, according to PCOM and most institutions of higher learning, students may not attend and participate in the graduation ceremony, but must wait for official diploma release. PCOM states, and I cited where you can go to the website and see it yourself, PCOM states that the roll diploma that students receive on is not their official diploma. Furthermore, PCOM states that their doctoral students must wait for full academic approval at the Board of Trustees meeting before receiving an official graduation diploma. Okay, in order for us to get our doctor's degree, the chief of academics, the CAO of the university, they must have a board meeting, and they must sign off on that before they let us go into the world, research and presenting ourselves as a pinnacle of our information or our education or the knowledge that we have. We have to show ourselves approved in this matter. I also gave a link to the website where this information can be found. I state that, Dr. Johnson, we need to know that you are, in fact, who you say you are. According to background checks in the state of Pennsylvania, there are probably 3 different Umar Johnsons with 2 or 3 different birth dates, okay, and different variances of names which you can have one variant of a name and it can be a completely different person. So therefore, that is why people ask for a photo ID. You cannot go in and out of this country with a photo ID. You cannot get in your car and drive with a photo ID. And for us to ask anybody that is presenting themselves as a leader or asking for $4 to $5 million to do anything is being less than what we should be as upstanding, as empowered African people. I stated here that Dr. Johnson states in an interview that he is a certified school psychologist and certified school principal and has private practice in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where he evaluates children for special education, disability determination. He works with charter schools, public schools, superintendents, principals, special education, attorneys, and he's part of different national advocacy groups. He did make a point about public and private schools that was false. As an example, he states that private schools work a little bit differently than public, or like private schools can get away more than public schools. Private schools and public schools under the state of Pennsylvania and any state of the United States are held to the same accountability and standards as public schools. They may have a little bit of leeway, but they still have to go by the same legal and certifications as most of the public schools. Now, the only schools who can get away with certain things are religious schools. And Umar has not stated that he is trying to open up an Islamic school or a Jewish school, because those are the only schools who can go and fall outside of the guidelines of the system of white supremacy and how they're conducting business with their children. So I said, Dr. Johnson, please know that in due respect to our ancestors, that there has been a broad view of scholarly and seminal work in psychology, and by Dr. Amos Wilson and by Dr. Bobby E. Wright. He is not the only psychologist in the world. You want to make sure that you get a broad perspective of people to come to the table who are either doctors, lawyers, accountants, or financiers to come to the table. He refuses to come to the table with people who can actually make this happen. And then what is happening is the people who could make it happen are getting attacked. And people can only take for so long from getting attacked by trying to help some people. We are doctors. We are philanthropists. A lot of us do a lot of donating work or a lot of work in helping the people, because we can go and file our taxes or use donation receipts to get compensated in the end and that. And plus they have so many grants for doctors to use, free money that you don't even have to be accountable to the white man for, to help the people. So I stated that I needed that information in regards to his licensing and his certification. Another point that was made is that about the students. I provided in that notice that Akbar was talking about, I gave special links to the Department of Education, to the Board of Education, and for parents to go so that they can compare notes themselves. With the current laws, they need to compare the current laws with what Umar is telling them. I gave links for free, no charge. That's free information on the website where parents can go to help themselves there. They should not be charged for free information that the government gives themselves. Another point that was stated was that Dr. Johnson requested from the African community donations to build a school and an upwards amount of $4 to $5 million. This type of request warrants a viable business plan, complete financial transparency, and an active organization that can receive donations and provide government tax receipts. That's a win-win. That will benefit the community as well. Just like the other brother was saying, nobody goes into a $4 million venture without any plans or financial transparency. That is really setting people up for serious legal allegations. And I'm talking about you go around doing that with the different laws and acts that we have. You're talking about if you don't have that stuff presented together, I've seen corporations get in trouble and people be in prison. We have seen that for not being transparent. I said here that I was in agreement with Mukasa Africa Ma'at that we request that you provide records from PayPal demonstrating community donations to FDMG. We also request that you provide records accounting for the money through your website and GoFundMe portals in regards to donations requested for the building of FDMG. I let him know that we have official court documents and state-based evidence that you are in default by judgment, lien, and child support, which leads to a lack in fulfilling your personal financial obligations. The reason why I bring this to par is because, yes, everybody has some type of problem that they may have with the system. That is not a big deal right there. But the thing of it is when you have problems in your own personal and financial credibility, you need to hire a stand-in, which is a financial advisor or a, like I would say in this case, it would have been my chief of finance who would have handled this. My chief of finance is CEO of her own financial firm. So you need to hire somebody where you can say, hey, you know what, if they looking at me and I know I owe child support, there's a lot of people owe child support. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you don't have your ducks in a row, your credit, your you owe money, you got liens, and you got judgments, you should not be handling money. No professional handles money when they know that their records are not tight, because then you present a presence of being an embezzler of the money. So now it's like, okay, we trying to help you with this, because now you have liens and you have judgments and you have back child support, unpaid child support, and you have an active open case in regards to child support, but you want to handle the funds of up to $4 to $5 million from the people. I then state in here that finally, Dr. Johnson, because you have failed to provide simple verification of your scholarship and transparency in financing with the collections of monies for the FDMG school in order to protect our minds, families, communities, and integrity, I did state that we perform an extensive background check on you and close family members that you have mentioned in your work. Okay, you say, okay, him and close family members. Okay, I have an FBI security clearance. Okay, I could not work for the federal government without them. I could not work for the federal government, okay, without them talking to me and my family. The government was not going to let me work them in my past careers. So why is somebody who's asking for $4 to $5 million all over the world, we cannot ask him about who he is? Okay? If we have to display that ourselves, I have to give the white man everything. Transcripts, diplomas, photo ID, passport, everything that I have to give references. And sometimes when you're applying for certain, this is just jobs, not a $4 million project. They want focus groups. They want testimonies. Let us see the children. Let us see the parents who vouch for you. Let us see the people who have successfully, been able to receive your information or your consulting, and they have been successful with their children. These are things that we will be asked for and accountable for. So I'm not asking no more from Dr. Johnson than the white man has ever asked from me or anybody else who states that they hold this type of credibility. So in this point, I let him know that findings, because of the families, communities, and integrity, we perform extensive background checks on him and close family members, members that he had mentioned in his work. Now notice, he had mentioned these people in his work. I have a lot of information on Umar Johnson that I cannot disclose, because the more information that I do disclose, the more he's following that information and trying to create rebuttals or ways to try to present himself by taking that information that we're giving out and trying to use it to try to justify what he's doing or to try to still exploit the people. I said our findings indicate that you potentially share an address with a potential white female officially conferred as a parent. Okay, this is only a concern because you state in your research the importance of black children having an instructor of the same race. Your direct influence may be in question by some in the matter of your perceptions in holding to or upholding your scholastic theory of race. He has a scholastic theory based on race in consideration of white people. So if you are sharing an address, which is this is open public record, with somebody that is white, and you are telling people in your videos that they cannot have any dealings with people who are white to come work with your school, then we are just asking you, please let us know who this is, and if this is false information, you need to work on clarifying it or getting it taken care of or whatever. Now, this is government information, but if he thinks that it is false, We've seen some instances where Kim was accused of some things, and she went directly to get an FBI report. She presented it online on the Internet. The Internet has now become a legal entity for prosecuting people and putting them in prison. And don't you think they would love to put a lot of black people in prison, okay? Talk about prison pipelines for committing acts of fraud, Internet fraud, identity theft, or crowdfunding fraud. So it's like, hey, we need to get this information because you're making the whole African community look bad running this, and you're also going to be able to create legal problems for people, potential legal problems for people that he is involved with. This is why I made sure I had to go ahead and retract my offer, because I don't need no COINTELPRO, no white supremacists coming down on me, knowing that I could have made this happen, and they may be investigating and think that I'm dealing with the fraud. That is why I had to draw the line and say, okay, no, I am doing the investigation also for the credibility of our executives, our doctors, and our business firm, let alone for the work of our ancestors who have inspired us to continue the work, the doctoral work, the certified research in helping our people and making solutions for our people in the system of white supremacy. I stated that this is my last statement. I stated, Dr. Johnson, accountable African leadership is the least that you can provide for a community that has given you their all in support of your dream. Remember, he said this is his dream. He wanted everybody to go fund him, okay? If you are a true scholar, a true doctor of psychology, and a true doctor of research, then your character should flow through the leadership that you are offering. Dr. Umar Johnson, because you have failed to come to terms with the African community, and until you restore your honor and integrity towards the people, you are hereby given notice that you have proven through fact-based evidence to be an African community fraud. Now, there has been evidence that has been presented on the Internet, but there is evidence that has been withheld so that we can match that evidence with what he provides, which is no less than what we have been asked since we have been here in this country called America. And that's the end of what I have.
Well, he always asks, like the sister over there in Holland, you know, and I thank her for coming on. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning over there. I mean, she stayed up all day to be able to tell her story. They tried to help him over there. They tried to include themselves in what he's doing. He shunned them and stopped talking to them. I remember back when about over a year ago when he did a show with me on my station right here, I Wake Up African People. Right after that, a sister from Toronto called me, started saying that he had took their money and stopped answering their phone calls, and she couldn't get through to him. And I thought the sister was a nutcase at first because I almost drunk the Kool-Aid, you know. And the sister told me, I mean, she's been back since, but she doesn't, being that nobody listened to her, and I mean, they basically tore her apart on the Internet. She don't want nothing to do with it no more. They just counted it as a loss in Toronto. He would never be there again. Sister from overseas told me when he got in contact with her one time, he said he was in Alaska. I'm like, they got niggas in Alaska? I was wondering, what the hell is going on? They get over there. Eskimos are cool over there. I don't know. But the Negro is living his dreams off of y'all money. I mean, he's walking around with between $150 and $500 pants. What type of revolutionary?
I have to ask you a question. Can I ask you a question? Because I know that Marva Collins used her own money to start her school. So I would like to ask you, how much of money did Umar use of his own to start this school?
Nothing, I guess. I mean, he didn't say anything about he's going to match the funds or put any money. I don't know anything about Umar's money. Nobody knows.
So he has not publicly even attempted to use any of his own money to start anything as far as education for the...
all the money he has is the people.
No, the crowdfunding will allow him to have his own money. People do not understand that crowdfunding on GoFundMe.com means exactly what it says, GoFundMe.
Yes,
so all of that money goes directly to him, and that is legal for it to go directly for him to buy expensive jeans or whatever the brother was saying.
He can withdraw during the funding period. So even if he does not have the total amount what he's aiming for, he can withdraw the money, and you won't see a difference in the account numbers that is posted on the GoFundMe page. So if he says, like, I have 2.5 dozen on the GoFundMe, even though he withdrew all the money out, the same amount will appear on that page. It won't change.
Exactly. And he can also inflate that information by adding money to it through GoFundMe, but they don't legally take any cash, no money at all. All he has to do is state that I got money from somewhere else, upload it to the system, and the system will reflect that money is there without taking any cash. So he can inflate $0 that may be there already.
Exactly. And also on top of it, the amount that he is displayed on the GoFundMe page is a different amount than the amount that he stated earlier before he got the GoFundMe account. He started with a GoFundMe in March 2015. And in December, when he was in Holland, he stated that he had $250,000 already in funds. Please,
so what happened to the $250,000 that PayPal?
We just to add it up, and that means that he has like $500,000.
PayPal is frozen. PayPal will not give you money unless you prove identity. They don't play. I have to put my credit card and all types of identification on the line for PayPal to transfer large sums of money. And he's stating that it's frozen. Stating that it's frozen is that you cannot come up with the information to prove that you are who you say you are. PayPal is not going to play that.
No.
Okay, Professor Chantel, may I ask you a question about his mother and sharing the same address? Could you elaborate a little bit more on that? How did that come to be? Has he addressed this issue?
This came about in doing the background investigation according to information that was provided from the school. He listed a couple of names of people, which then allows you to go and do a background investigation on those who he claimed are his parents. And so in doing that investigation on those people, the lady that came up, which is the lady her name is Barbara V. Shoemake, actually in the paperwork, but their aliases are Barbara V. Shoemaker, Barbara V. Johnson, Barbara Johnson, several aliases. And when you pull up the information, it is a photo of a white lady that's about 57 years old. And so in doing a comparative analysis of the relationship, as if this is his mother, his foster mother, or girlfriend, or whatever this may be, and you look at his background, his investigation report, you see that they share similar addresses.
Wow.
So that's why, because of his theory of race and because of what he states in regards to white people, that puts you in question. One thing that I've noticed in his videos, which is a form of reverse psychology. In reverse psychology, the thing that you want to do to fool the people, this is reverse psychology. You want to go and present to the people that you are totally against homophobia, totally against pedophilia, and totally against white people. And usually those are the issues that people who do have what's called narcissistic psychological disorder, which he does present the symptoms of NPD, which is also in the DSM-4 and the DSM-5. He is very well aware of that, which is also the same traits that David Koresh and Jim Jones had. It's called narcissistic, you can look it up, psychological disorder. People who have grandiose behaviors, and they want to have a following just like Jim Jones did with the People's Temple, and just like David Koresh did with the Branch Davidians. There's a lot of reports and information that is just available on Google. You can Google it, and you can do a comparative analysis yourself to see that he possesses a lot of these traits. So normally somebody who is experiencing NPD, they usually are they like to use the psychology. And usually the psychology that they use is that they will put up front and accuse. They will say that they won't have to do nothing with the very people that they have something to do with. So that's why a lot of concerns had come up and a lot of his conversations. In his
I would like to also ask you another question about what I find strange about him. He has so many different names. It's like he can't make up his mind, even with the school. The school has been so many different places. Nothing is ever concrete with him. He's hopping from one place to the next. It's like he's confused. And one day it's this thing, the next thing is that day. And it's the same with his name. Does anybody know Frederick Douglass by another name, Marcus Garvey by another name, Dr. Amos Wilson by any other name? I find that very strange.
I don't. He has
can you explain that, Professor? Can you explain it? Professor Beatty, can you explain that a little bit for us?
He does not have any information or any names that link to Marcus Garvey or Frederick Douglass. Even in evaluating the ancestral tree, there are no links that I have found to the ancestors, Frederick Douglass, or any type of connection with Marcus Garvey at all, based on any of the names and synonyms regarding him and any of his family members. He does have about 5 different variants of the name that he does use. If you're very well knowledgeable about identity theft, the FBI states that you can easily use people's identity, and that there's no way that you can avoid it. However, the only thing that you can do is to try to keep your information, your personal information when it's somebody you don't know, as confident as possible. However, he's asking people for the very information that we're asking him. So we're just balancing the scales. Total ma'at. You ask for photo IDs. You ask for resumes.
Pictures.
My CV is on LinkedIn, Chantel Beatty. My maiden name is Chantel Alexander. All of my credentials are there out in public. They're on LinkedIn. You can go to LinkedIn and just put in Chantel Beatty or Chantel Alexander, and you can get a well-versed amount of information from me, or you can email me, contact me, or call me. I don't care. This is information that has to be bestowed to the white people. So when you're dealing with that white system, white supremacy, and you do not want any legal problems or any legal trouble, you give these people whatever they want.
Okay, excuse me. We have a few callers. We have a few callers. I'm going to try to let somebody in. Hopefully it may be. I hope it's Umar out there. Hold on. Call 8162. You want to ask a question or have something to say?
6162 is me.
Okay, 8162 is
8162. I'm sorry. Okay.
8162. Okay, 8162 don't have nothing to say. Let me go down. Okay. Caller 4556 with the last 4 numbers, 4556. Do you have anything to say? Caller 4556. Okay, that caller doesn't have anything to say. Let me go back up to this one. Caller 3801. Is this your place?
That's me, brother. Yeah, that's me.
Okay. I'm just going to leave you in here. Okay, then all the callers, all the people dropped off. I guess they might have been trying to find out what's going on so they can go report back to Umar. Because, that I don't know what kind of Kool-Aid he's serving them. But, real deep. But hopefully we can save them, and hopefully we can keep on chipping away at this problem, and he'll go away just like Ray Hagan's did. So that's what I'm for the best. I mean, I really hope the brother hasn't, that he could really turn up with this money and still have the money. I wish he could just turn up with the money, turn up with the school, turn up with everything that he promised the people, but he won't because he's not real. And you people have heard the information. The information's been put out here to you. The sister with credibility has laid information down. Another sister from Holland who also has a degree, which Omar used on y'all to get in good grace with you. He told you about all the degrees in the white man's institutions and everything to hook y'all in, hook, line, and sinker, But now that he's being challenged on his degrees, his credibility, and his credentials, y'all guys are resorting their credentials don't make no difference. I mean, what if this guy was a pedophile or a rapist or some type of mad killer or something, and y'all don't want to know who he is? What if he was on the Amber List? You don't want to know who he is. You don't want to know his real name. You don't want to know his real credentials. You don't want to know anything. And then you have the nerve to say, well, ain't Reverend Chicken Wing taking the money? Well, Omar's not claiming to be Reverend Chicken Wing. He's claiming to be a savior that's going to save you from Reverend Chicken Wing. And he's not supposed to be doing what Reverend Chicken Wing is doing. So, he always mentions Reverend Chicken Wing, himself. I heard him say, pork chops and chicken wing reverends. But now he's in the churches. He's on the church circuit now, talking and speaking at churches now. So the religious people is trying to drink this Kool-Aid because they're already on the reverend's Kool-Aid. I mean, they give them extra special Kool-Aid on Communion Day, along with some crackers. Yeah, but
Brother Akbar, that's another reason a lot of people continue to support him because they see that they can make money as well. So a lot of them are in it because they see they can make money too, including vendors. Well, I see he draws a crowd, so I'm gonna continue to rock with the brother because I can make some money with him too. So you have a lot of that as well.
Well, I'm just going to speak on the behalf and integrity of doctors and black doctors, that we have a lot of ways of obtaining funds to help our people without exploiting them or asking them for $1.
Right.
And I also want to say this. This is very important that I have to say. I want to say that all the so-called black leaders, all the so-called vanguard that's out there, I'm not calling them specific names tonight, but later on names are going to start flying out there. Why are you guys not standing up to Umar? I mean, it's some very prominent guys out there, and a very few but prominent dudes out there that say that they're for the black community. They're against this. A lot of these dudes came against Ray Hagan and anybody else that they perceive to be not worthy or doing the wrong thing or robbing or cheating our people. Why hasn't they stand up to Umar? Because they are all making money. And until they stand up to Umar, my mind hasn't changed. I'm gunning for all of them that's like him. And let me just tell you this. We have an organization that we have built, me, Chantel, and Kim, and a couple more people, that we're going to be checking all these leaders out. We're going to check every last one of them out. We have the fund to check you out. As soon as you get out of line, start tripping out, you will be on our hit list. I'm telling you this now. Because we need quality control in the black community. We need quality control. It's like they got two factories. We want to vet these so-called people who stand up saying that they're leaders. They're going to be vetted. So if you are dishonest, let me tell you now, do not stand up and say that you're part of the black community for no donations, because we're going to be on top of you. Chantel or Brother Bartley, whoever wants to, go ahead and close out, because we're above time. I don't even know when this thing's going to cut off. So somebody close out. And
it dropped off at 8:16.
What do you think?
Okay, well, I just want to say this is that from my point of view, from my perspective, I feel it's really painful to see why this is happening to the African community in a global manner, that there is so much distrust amongst ourselves, and this will only add up. That when somebody tries to do something for the community, there will be, side eyes or black vote or whatever. Why? Because somebody else already made the biggest mistake to use other people's trust and, bamboozled them, and that is something that I really take it personal when you want to support a good cause, and at the end of the day, it means that you have been played out. We have been hustled, we have been fooled. I really feel that it's something that people should be aware about, that what are the specific things that we have to consider the moment somebody steps up, I want to do this, I want to do that. I don't really believe that there should be some person who stands up as to be a leader. I think that we all share a common responsibility amongst ourselves to look in, like, okay, we all have specific things that we can do to add in as a community, as built together. Because when someone wants to step up to the plate as a leader, then it all goes up into their ego. And at the end of the day, we are all losers. We are all losers. And I do not understand that the people that you are going for to give them hope, those are the ones who get the biggest slap in the face.
Exactly. I agree, sister. I agree.
I totally agree. Yes. It hurts us all as a black community.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is the reason why people keep saying there's no unity in the black community, because of these individuals who just makes a bigger mess for the rest of us.
Exactly.
Because we want to try, we want to do things, but these people are just, finding ways to pimp us out and use us for their personal gain. And actually, people like him are exactly one of the major factors that causes the problem within our community on a global scale. So I just want to leave it at that. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak out also on this very serious matter. It's like past 3 o'clock right here, so I think I'm going to sign off right now.
Thank you, my sister.
Thank
you.
Okay, well, I'm going to close on this note. You all kept saying that I was angry that Umar was screwing me. No, Umar didn't do anything to me. You all need to worry about how Umar is screwing you. That's what I'm going to close out on. Thank you guys for listening, and I've been retweeting your tweets, so I'll see you guys on Twitter, and thanks again for all your support.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to close out on remembering we're under the system of white supremacy, and this is exactly what the white man would like to see us do. Umar, we need you to stand up and come forward with the allegations. Thank you.
Go ahead, brother.
I would like to, this is Brother Bartley. I would like to close out saying that we talk about COINTELPRO a lot, but do we really understand it? Once you start really thinking, you will begin to understand that, why would these people traveling to Africa and all these other places? You understand what I'm saying? Presenting themselves as being leaders or representative of the leadership that's coming from Black America, the people that's here. And that's to me, that's not the work of an average person. You see, number one, where did you get the funds to do all this traveling? And who made you an ambassador to these places? And that's one of the reasons why we need to be organized. You see, because every little person who can travel to different countries or different states can pawn themselves off as being leaders and representatives of the people, of our people. And that's not, that's not the work of an average Negro. It's something deeper than that. That's all I have to say.
Go ahead, Brother
Thank
Quazy.
you.
Yes. I just wanted to conclude that we need to really, really open our minds up and to really start asking questions. We really need to continue or begin doing research. And also what I'm seeing now is that he has a very young followers. And this is it's going to be a continuation if we do not wake many of our young people up to this type of nonsense. And that's what I wanted to just want to say.
Yes, and I want to thank the sister from overseas for coming. I mean, it's real late over there in Holland. I'm so happy. Now, I want to thank the professor for taking her time out. I want to thank Brother Quasi for taking his time out. I want to thank Kim Rango for taking her time out, and I always want to thank my co for me to get this information out to our people. All I can say to this is, Umar, straighten up your game, brother, and let the people know who you are. And you won't be Umar no more. You will be Umar again. It has been a wake up after. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Can't run away. It's gonna get you. Don't ignore it. It's gonna get you. You can't.
2 new Walmart neighborhood markets are opening in Murfreesboro January 27th at Fortress Boulevard and Manson Pike and at Cason Lane and New Salem Highway. Get ready to save big on all the groceries your family needs, from fresh produce to quality meats and more. Plus, you'll have a full-service pharmacy right in your neighborhood. All at Walmart Neighborhood Market, opening January 27th at Fortress Boulevard and Manson Pike and at Cason Lane and New Salem Highway in Murfreesboro.